Good morning. So,
Hi, good morning. It's evening here.
yeah. So we've got
But
our
yeah, good
questions ready to
morning.
go. Gianmarco, do you think, let's give us 5 minutes. Can you tell us about your journey that led you here and maybe something you appreciate about the group, something you appreciate about the group, and one thing you'd like to improve?
Yes, sure. So I'm Gianmarco, 47 years old, living in Stuttgart, Germany. I get involved into the stock market first as a classic buy and hold investor, let's say it like this. Then the market goes down more and more and more. My depot gets red and redder. And so I thought, okay, only being long and holding, it's quite boring and frustrating. And I started first with CFD trading and later with future trading. And I have to say, I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. I was buying futures, two, three, four lots like stocks, and I lost very much money, getting traumatized, getting emotional. So I learned it completely by the hard way, by myself, recovered, tried again, tried to get better, read it, trade it, demo trading, lost more, joined one mentoring, joined another mentoring, tested strategies. And yeah, still I would consider me a beginner, but yeah, I don't know. I have also this boom and bust still in me, psychological issues. I'm profitable for months, for example, and then I have this 3 4 days where I give it up much of my wins in a losing streak, stuff like this. So I struggled alone. I'm search for traders who have the same problems, which who I can interact, improve myself, talk about also the problems, because I think more or less all traders who trades alone struggle with similar problems. At least this is what I saw. So I was in a Discord group from Ticino Trader, mainly because I searched some good chart books for Sierra, and I met Peter Valery from here, from this group. And he invited me to Hybrid Minds, and now I'm here. That's the story.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So s-
And yeah, sorry.
I was just gonna say, so something you appreciate about the group and maybe something you'd improve.
Absolutely. I appreciate to the fullest that there are traders with the same problems, with different views, communicating, learning from each other. This is, I think I need this for my trading and for improving. I thought about what I would do better. I found it's quite good. I didn't see a big topic. Maybe we can make a channel for more technical, for example, for Ninja and for Sierra for posting some chart books. But this is a minor idea, is not necessarily needed. So
I
I'm
think that's a
quite
really good one. I that's
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one.
okay.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Let's do it.
We should. I know that in fact where that may have made some headlines for us is the fact that me and Ziggy just signed up for One Up Trader, and now they don't support um, Sierra Chart because
Sierra.
because
But you
Rhythmic
can still
having us.
use, yeah, you can still use it, but it's not allowed to update anymore, I think. As soon as you update, you are lost.
So we will, so we will.
If
I'm on an old version, so let's make that the first topic on what version you're not allowed to go past because I think I'm on like 2177 or something. So yeah, great. That's awesome. Excellent. So tell us about your trading process and what part of it you think is working. You've already shared a little bit about what's not working, but what part of it in your what is the process and what do you think is working?
with process, you mean how I develop myself at the moment in which direction I'm going, or
Yes.
I didn't get the question. Yeah,
Well,
okay.
yeah,
So,
how you choose a trade and how you approach the market. I mean, you can be at high level if you'd like. We're going to ask you about a setup, but I mean, what if the high level process is your sort of mental approach to the market, then that's fine. But also, if it's more technical, that's also fine.
okay, understood. So yeah, okay. Generally, I stuck for the ES and for the NQ mainly. I'm a day trader. I made some swing trades, but I love to close positions. I don't want to have open positions. For me, if I have open positions overnight or stuff like this, I don't like it. So I want to go in the market fast and out fast and have the control that I'm on in front of my desk when the trade is open. I need this for myself. It, for me it's better. So average position I have it open, I think, from 5 minutes to 3 hours, like this. Um, I for myself, my biggest problem is still the psychology. I think that I learned something, that I'm stable, that I have my emotions quite good under control. I have a plan, I stick to the plan, but still something triggers me and I don't stick to my plan. I get in this revenge trades when I'm stopped out. I want to get the money back. So I consider myself still as a beginner. I have much to learn and I still have big problems with my impatience, with my emotions. This is where I also stuck at the moment, to be honest. So this is my biggest problem. So at the moment, I'm also not really, I have consistent profitable phases, but then come this one day where everything goes wrong and I don't stick to my plan. And this is not how a professional trader should act. So I'm still struggle with this, to be honest.
Yeah, and that makes sense. So, what do you think about in when you get into those profitable zones or periods? What is working? Why? What about your process is getting you into those profitable places?
If I'm patient, if I watch the market, if I wait for my setup and I follow my plan, it's working. I have an edge and it's working. But quite often I'm impatient. The setup does not come for hours. I want to force the trades. And this is how it starts, that I don't follow my plan, that I'm impatient, that I get emotional. And this is where this destruction also starts and where I don't have a clear edge anymore.
Okay, so I'm going to depart from the questions just for a moment. Do you share your screen on Discord with us in the morning?
No, no, no.
Okay, so and
Maybe
then
this I can.
yeah, I think you should do that. And then once we get through this, I also think that I think I'll say the words, but I know everybody on this call is thinking it. I think you need to post your stuff every day. You need to post what your plan
Yeah.
is so that people can hold you accountable to what, when those moments are that you're getting impatient. I think you've identified something that's really key in what's putting you on tilt.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Do you think that you could describe an ideal setup, and I can share my screen, and you can share your screen? We'll sort of take it all in so everybody can be able to contextually follow you in what you're doing.
You mean in future or now? I can describe a setup, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to share your screen, or you just want to talk about it?
Yeah, I have nothing prepared now which I can show. Sorry, it was a little bit fast with the questions, but I can describe. So yeah, I can describe it. I
Sure.
think it's quite good.
Okay.
Okay, so um, my trading is a combination from volume trading and order flow trading. So basically, I trade breakouts and reversals. And an ideal setup for me, for example, is if the market, let's say, go down, sellers come in, more sellers come in, and delta is negative, red imbalances, and the market goes down and down and down. And if then there comes a big delta change, this puke out. You know what I mean? When big sellers spit out all of the red imbalance at the end of a candle, for example,
Like a
and then the
climax,
delta.
like a climax ending.
Yes, the climax, exactly, and a huge red delta. And then, for example, in a 2 minute, I have the 2 minute footprint. And then the next candle has a huge green delta. Green imbalance came in, large buyers, large buys came in. This is for me an ideal reversal setup.
Beautiful. And
So
and
this,
why do you think could you explain the logic behind the trade? I don't know if everybody can visualize that. Please step up on the mic and say if you can't. I'm going to ask one question to clarify. What is the logic behind the trade? Why do you think it works?
mm, it works because for me, large buyers came in with this huge delta change. So it's not every delta change, but this, for example, if a high volume with high delta changes to another high volume with high delta. This is often when big buyers, for example, when it was a sell before, big buyers came in, and this is where the reversal starts.
And it
And it works. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, no, it makes sense now. So how many of these setups would you say happen in a day?
In the ES, at the moment, it's from the times I work full time. So I'm here in Europe from 5 o'clock. This show is opening is 3:30 in our time. In the cash hours, I think it's 3 times this big delta changes where when I'm patient and watch, where I say, okay, this is it. I'm quite sure. Small stop, 4 tick stop in ES works in these
Oh,
cases.
wow.
This is the setup. Yeah, yeah. But much often I want to see it where it's not is. And when I'm impatient, when I force the trade, when I get greedy. So I see smaller delta changes like bigger ones, but yeah, half an hour later the real one comes like
Well,
this.
that can make a lot of sense if you're watching the charts for a long time and there's only three setups. Yeah, it could make sense why you're doing that. So that I follow that. Do you
Yeah,
have? Go ahead.
yeah. Let me define this. There are maybe more, but this is what I would consider my A plus setup with very tight stop loss and with very high edge that it works.
Perfect. That answers the next question I was going to ask, which is, do you have other setups? But this sounds like your A plus
Yes,
setup, as you said.
yes.
Excellent.
Exactly, exactly. So if I'm patient enough to wait for this, then it's a very good A plus setup. I can show it also in the group afterwards. I have not prepared it now, but then it's more clearly I can show it in the following days or when I post my trades.
I think it
So
would. I know we'd all benefit from having that, maybe a screenshot
sure,
and have it marked up or something like that. Nick is an ES trader too and probably sees some of the same behavior. So I bet you guys could benefit from chatting about that particular move.
sure, sure,
How did you find
sure.
this setup?
How do I find it?
How did you find this setup? Yeah, how did you come
Um,
across it?
it's a combination. I made a mentoring here with a German scalper who scalps the DAX mainly. So he made this combination. It's a combination of low volume nodes, imbalance, and this order flow with big trades.
I see.
And yeah, yeah, it's short time frames. Often he uses it often in a 4 range chart, and he goes for 5 or 6 ticks. But for me, this setup, especially, you can also hold it much longer often.
Well, that opens up the
So
next
these are
question.
reverse.
So, what do you like about this trade? Is it the low risk? Is it because it works out quickly? Is it because it's a nice high R trade? What makes it a good trade for you?
Yes, it's the low risk from the stop loss. And there's a big probability that this reversal goes very high. So I can take some profits or close one lot in the first resistance level, which is some ticks. But there's a high probability that this trade works longer and goes much more points.
Excellent. And I failed to ask up front, or are you trading micros or full size, and how many contracts are you trading at one time?
I traded full contracts, but at the moment I go back to micros to get my emotions a little bit down, and I am searching for my mistakes and I want to improve. So I lowered my risk at the moment to micros. So I go in with 3 to 5 micros at the moment.
Got it. Do you have an accountability partner?
Somehow it's Peter,
Hmm. Good. If
but
you
it's
go ahead.
not so clearly defined. Yeah, sorry,
It's
it's not
not.
so clearly defined.
What would you change about that? I mean, is there room to improve? Do you need more people to talk to as far as an accountability partner goes?
I think it could help. Yes.
Hmm.
Um,
If you could get maybe help with only one thing with respect to your trading, I can almost anticipate your answer, but I'm going to ask the question for all of us and for our benefit. So, if you could get help with one thing with respect to your trading, what help would you ask for?
yeah, this is a good question. I thought before what I would ask. I think for sure it has not to do with technical stuff. It has to do with my psychological
Mm,
issues.
mm.
So
And
I don't
I
need
want to
to
ask about
speak
that.
fluent.
I want to ask about that, and I'm going to draw Nick into this. Nick, one of the things that you're on the same path. Psychology is the number one thing you're trying to clear off your plate so that you can trade. Your technical skills and your knowledge about the market give you full freedom to do your thing. And one of the things that we have done to help us with that, and is really your invention, is the battle plans. So, can we, Gianmarco, can we talk about what do you think? And Nick, I'm drawing you into this because I want you to interact here.
Sure.
I'd like you to talk about how battle plans have helped you, but I'd also like to ask Gianmarco, why is your psychology the problem? Is it the preparation of the trade? Is it the execution of the trade? Is it the management of the trade? Is it taking a stop? Where do you find that you start to wobble? And I'll probably let Nick respond to whatever you say.
Okay, I think I get most of it. I get triggered by losses and stopped out
So when a
plans
trade
which are
doesn't
not
work,
working.
you did all the right
Yeah,
prep, you thought about it, and the trade doesn't work, and then now you're in a heightened state of desire to get that back, right?
exactly. Fast. Exactly.
So Nick,
This is where it starts.
I want to pull you into this because I feel like battle plans has fundamentally shifted that for me. Can you talk a little bit about battle planning?
I can, but yeah, I will, as a matter of fact. But I want to just first say is this what Gianmarco is talking about is exactly what I'm working on. And I've decided about 8 months ago that I was going to do everything in my power to learn everything I could and do every single technique that I could possibly have. So first off, Gianmarco, I got like 100 things I can share with you that will help. I took
Okay.
Randy Howell's course, and I paid him $3,500 in the last year, and I went through his entire course. And of course, I can't share that. I mean, that would be unethical. But the ideas that come from this that can help you, I think they're numerous, um, and I'll probably sound like an expert if I start talking about it because I've really dug into this a lot. And the first
Okay.
thing that happens, when you're trading and you get a loss, is if you connect that loss with your personal net worth or your personal self-worth, then that loss becomes more than just a stop out of a procedure that you're doing. It becomes a hit to your personality, to your person, almost like
Yes.
if you were in a battle and you got punched in the face hard, knocked down. What would happen in that situation is your body reacts and wants to fight back, and it gives you the energy to do that. And fighting back in the market only causes big problems because that's not the way to fight. That's not the way to trade. So, in a big picture sense, what you're going through is exactly what I've gone through. And I still, to this day, have not perfected it. One of the reasons why I refuse to ramp up my size, because I'll go through a whole bunch of really great days, and then I'll have one day that sets me back mentally that says, you know what, you're not a professional trader. You can't have 30 trades and blow up, half of what you made in a week or more. And you can't do that. And I can't do that with size, and I can't let myself do that with size. I'll just really be upset about that. So until it's worked out, I'm not allowing myself to get big. But so that's a long story short. So the battle plan idea is this. The battle plan is basically bringing everything you're working on right down to the exact moment in time where you are. So Josh and I do a battle plan in the morning, and what we're really talking about is not so much like a trader bite that FT does, where he talks about it's going to go down and then it could go up and it could go down and it could go up and all that. Yeah, that's good. But for me, it was too broad of a measure to be helpful. So what we do is we say, here's what we think the context is. This is going to be my first trade. If I see this, if it lines up with this, if I have, like it could be something very similar to this. For me, it's very similar to this. I have a resistance zone. I think the bias is short. When it gets to that resistance zone, I'm going to look for delta to shift. When delta shifts, I'm going to take a short. And my idea is to hold it to this level here. And that's as specific as we get. And then we'll say something like, if it doesn't go there first, and it really goes down to my support zone first, and I'm in a neutral bias, I'm going to be a buyer down there for at least a move back up to resistance before we get something else going on. And then we can talk about those levels of things. And the idea of a battle plan is so that you can eliminate all the other possibilities that are going on in your world and say, this is what I'm going to do for the next 25 minutes, 30 minutes, hour, whatever it takes to do that. That's what a battle plan is all about. But here's the one thing, Gianmarco, that's specific to you. That battle plan won't work for you if you're out of control mentally. And the best way to control your mental state is by breathing properly. If you can do that, which is not easy because it goes right out of your head real quick. If you can do that, you can maintain your mental state. If you can maintain your mental state without getting into tilt, you then can use that battle plan. And that's the key. So it's a two-pronged process. Basically, you want to keep yourself calm by using breathing techniques. And then at the same time, you want to execute exactly what's in front of you because you have a game plan. And then when you're done with that little game plan, you build another plan. And it's very much like if you watch American football, it's like you all huddle up. Okay, here's the plan. This is what we're going to do. And then the play's over, and then you build another one. And that's the attitude you have. And this can happen 10, 15 times a day, or it can happen 3 times a day. But it's all about being right into the context, microscoped in, and looking at the trade setup that you're looking for or the activity you're looking for.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you still are there still things which triggers you, Nick, even with all this preparation and breathing calm and having the battle plan, or is it
Definitely.
quite under control?
No, I would not say it's quite under control. It's under control like 80% of the time, like you. And then that and you never know when that 80% is going to go to 90% or 100%, right? Because all you know is you did well today. I'm going to try to do well tomorrow, and I'm going to try to do it again the next day. And until then, but it still gets. I've had situations in the last month where it's gotten out of control again. Luckily for me now, though, I've been able to kind of recognize this a lot faster and stop damage from getting worse. So my progress in this has been that I no longer blow up my entire account in one day after 3 weeks of doing great. I take a hit, I recognize it, and I stop.
the battle plan operates as a diagnostic, Nick. I mean, that's the big thing that you're also experiencing. I've been experiencing not having a checklist put me in a place where I had to rely on my mental faculties to assemble all of the right information, plus feel my heart rate go up and all that stuff. But having the battle plan and making that process and checklist so rigid allows, to your exact point, what you just said, to diagnose when you're out of sorts, when you're off, when the emotions have control of the stick. And that's the real, I mean, yes, it's helpful in following a process. It's helpful in stability and consistency. But I think more than anything, what it does for you is it allows you to see when you're acting on things that are outside of that plan and process, and allows you to more directly pinpoint what is causing you to act out of the plan and process. For me, it's price movement. When price moves too fast or goes in a direction that I want to go in and I'm not part of it, that's I learned that as a very specific trigger because I had this battle plan as a grid that overlaid everything that was happening because it just kept happening repeatedly. I'm building my plan, price is moving fast, and I'm getting nervous, and I'm getting anxious and wanting to do something. So boom, now I know exactly what I have to work on in my mental psychology or interpretation of information in order to beat that back or keep it under control.
Yeah. Yeah, volatility for sure. Fast price movements triggers me also.
Yep.
Sure.
I just can I add something really quick? Because I think multiple people kind of have, they have a good streak or things are going well, and then one day can change that. And what comes to mind is if one of you have that type of day, you know, share it here, either that day or the next day. Um, I think it's helpful for others to know that you had that type of day.
Completely.
And the other thing that I learned from Randy
Yeah.
Howell that I'll just tell you, Gianmarco, that might clue you into something that you have in your own self, is that I would have a period of time where there was one period of time where I had like 22 trading days in a row, all winners, all big, all good
Yeah.
days, right? And I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I'm finally got this.
Yeah.
And then I spent the next like 2 days giving almost all of that back.
Yeah.
And what happens is, and he specifically warns against this one thing, we all go from like getting our mind right and trading properly with all of the tools that we have. And then something switches in your head where you get just a little tiny bit like, I know what's going on. When you get that I know what's going on, that arrogant level that comes up, that euphoric level. Euphoria is an emotion that actually triggers things in your brain. Chemicals get released in your brain that change what you do. And one of the big changes that happens is you're willing to take more risk. And this is not something I'm
Yeah.
guessing on. This is actually proven, right? This is scientific stuff. You get a
Yeah.
level of euphoria, and all of a sudden your risk controls go out of whack. And that is another big thing to guard against, because we have to remain humble all the time when we're doing this, even when we have good days. So you'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 good days in a row, and then you'll have a blow up. And that is why. That specific
Yeah.
reason is why that might be happening.
Yeah. And how do you manage this? Because I'm aware of this, I know it theoretically, but it still happens that more good days I have, less careful even if I say to me every day, man, this was now the, I don't know, 12th day in a row, which huge profit, don't get euphoric, don't get arrogant, stay humble. But it sneaks in somehow into me sometimes. How are you aware of this?
Well, I'll try several different things. I'll just tell you some of the things that I've tried. The first thing is being aware of it and bringing it to your attention all the time while you're trading, like
Yeah.
literally all the time. I have 30-minute alarms that get set. I have a heart rate monitor. I mean, I'm doing so many things. It's like I'm connected to some sort of an ICU unit over here, because I want to know
Okay.
if my heart is going fast. I want to know if I'm breathing improperly. I want to know if I'm even thinking improperly. Then I come in here like this is a laboratory and I'm the test subject. So that's what I'm doing on this side, because I want to make sure I can build this habit of having a trader state of mind, which is a clear understanding, not fearful, not enthusiastic, not overly optimistic, not negative either, just neutral in my thinking,
Yeah.
so that I can use my brain to its best capacity. And
Yeah.
then take a break. Like yesterday, After 12 o'clock, I was like, that's it, I'm done, goodbye, I'm doing something else. And I shut everything down and I kind of just did other things and I read about stuff but the point of it is that your brain can't concentrate like that all the time. So that euphoric thing will come in when your concentration levels start to get less powerful. And when that
Yeah.
happens, I find it to be like 3 or 4 days. I got to take a little less time. I got to just unpack a little bit, do something else. I got to make sure that I don't get too tired mentally to hold all this together.
Yeah, I also think these breaks are really important for long haul.
Can I say one thing?
Please do.
Sure.
Sure, because Randy Howell, he was at the Convergent once, and he said something that really stuck with me because I guess that's my problem. So I remember it, and he said that you have to be aware that as Nick said, that this is not going to be personalized. You're not a bad person because you trade poorly, right? So it does not have to reflect on your personality. And another thing is also because I did have done this for 5 years, and I need some recognition but I don't get it because I'm not good enough, right? So I just realized that. So sometimes when I went out of tilt, it was because I needed that recognition. And when he told me, or what he said, because I couldn't talk to him, so you have to write questions. He said, "Go do something else that you're good at, and get your recognition there, and then come back to your trading."
Yeah.
That had helped me a lot because I can
Yeah.
get recognitions a lot of other places. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's really
just want to point
fascinating.
that
Yes,
out.
I have many. Yeah. For me, yes, I found it very difficult also to step away while you have a red day and market is still open, for example. This is so hard for me to accept this loss and step away with the loss and not trying to turn it green and whatever it will cost and all this emotional stuff.
Yeah.
For me, this is really, really difficult. And sure, yeah, it has to do with ego, it has to do with personal emotional losses, with the
Yeah.
value system, with feeling like a loser. All this involves, even if it's subtle, but yeah, it's hard to overcome this, I think.
But I think
And
it's important to find out what the key is. I found out that the recognition is my key. So I
yeah,
have to watch out for that. That's why I go on tilt. So
yeah.
so when you can find what's causing you going on tilt, you can work on it and improve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to that end, just to wrap this up, I mean, it's recognizing what your personality needs. For having that eliminated is something that we need to work on, obviously. But for you, for all of us, the root of this is unrealistic expectations. Whether you're red or green, it doesn't matter. That's so
Yeah,
we've got
sure.
we got to figure out what's causing the desire to have unrealistic expectations, and that's where you're going to see the improvement in the process. For me personally, Nick and we struggle to define this in language. I've talked about people don't like uncertainty, and Nick said that people don't like uncertainty, and I've started to refine that and say, well, it's not that people don't like uncertainty. They do like some uncertainty. What they don't like is to deal with predictable uncertainty. Uh, and what I mean by that is when you're in a trade and you're thinking, oh no, it's about to go against me and I have to do something. Well, 2 seconds ago, prior to that, you were comfortable with the idea that the unpredictable uncertainty was that the price was going to move in your favor. That was unpredictable, but you were comfortable with it. As soon as you saw information that looked predictable, as soon as you saw that, then you became uncomfortable. And that's funny to me. That's really funny to me. So I started saying, okay, well, since that's my dilemma, that's what I seem to think I need to have comfort with, then the only answer to that is having such clarity on my process that I can be comfortable that if I followed that process to the T and the market doesn't agree, then I've done everything I possibly can to eliminate that predictable uncertainty. And I'm comfortable with the losses. It's not that you start stacking them up and there's that cumulative effect, but that's how I traced my way into having such specific setups and why that was so valuable to my personality. Why in other cases it prevented me from acting and now it doesn't anymore. So just I offer that as a piece of advice to start really learning who you are more so than learning how to trade.
Yeah, sure. This is the
That's
key. I
brilliant.
also, yeah,
I wanted to
Mm.
share one other thing too before we go off the subject. Is this is something that I found in Andrew Menaker's work. He said something in one of the videos that I have tattooed to my forehead right now, and it says, "Focus on doing what's right, not being
okay.
right." What he means by that is, you know your plan, you know how you're supposed to trade. Focus on doing what's right in your plan, not being right with the outcome. And so I use that as like a mantra. Because if I take a trade, I know I get triggered with stops. I take a stop, I remind myself, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's the process. That is right. Wasn't right with making money. I did the process right.
Mhm.
So I use that as a mantra that might be able to you always have to bring it down to something simple, because at the end of the day, we're fighting this on a moment by moment basis. And it's when your mind slips just for that moment, that's when the problems arise. So
Yes.
something like simply this might help to put you back on track.
Well, very good. Gianmarco, thank you for the interview. I appreciate it. I know all of us benefited. We're going to take something away from this. And, this community is here to respond to you. And I think you will find that a lot of us are passionate. I see all of us interacting with each other when we post content. So please make use of your channel and get involved there. Be as clear as you can with as clear as you know your process to be. Get that articulated in there. And then the other thing I'll re-invite you to is that anytime you want to have an impromptu meeting, let's say you're trading during the day and you're in the meeting room and you want to ask somebody about this. Just happened to me and Michael. Michael and I was done trading and Michael said, "Hey man, I'm in a short. I need some help." So I popped over and I looked at it and we were going at it together. I said, "Michael, I'd get out right here. This is like this. This is gonna flush and then it's gonna turn right there." Sure enough, to the goddamn tick, it did. Not because I was right, just but it was helpful. We were talking, we were having a relationship, and it was helping him, and we were working together. You can do that. That's part of what this community is about. So you can fire it up. You can go into team events and say, "Hey, I'm looking to talk about this. Does anybody want to jump in?" And that's what Discord's all about. And then the last thing I'll say is that in the morning, there's the team event that Nick and I do with the battle plan, and you feel free to join that. But then once that's done, we go to the main room and we all share our trading screen. And what you should be sharing on your screen is your execution screen so that everybody can see how you're executing. And as we learn your process, we'll be able to go, "Gianmarco, you're not following your process, man." So, and it could be a potential interrupt for you so that you can
Okay. Yeah.
get settled.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for that. Yeah, I will do it. So,
One last question about your process. Do you look for locations when you take this trade, or do you just take it in the middle of nowhere when it turns?
no, it's on mostly on low volume nodes or close
Okay.
to low volume nodes.
Right.
I can show this in detail. It's
Yes.
Good.
Well,
So
I was
if
just
we
curious
see
about the location.
if we see him taking a trade at a point of control, Michael, we'll hammer his ass. That's
Yeah.
exactly.
okay.
I
Excellent.
also wanted to ask a quick technical question, Gianmarco, because I think I trade the exact same way as you do, actually, like probably exactly. I don't know if you use delta percentage, but like
Very
that's how
good.
I use to quantify the delta. I wanted to ask, why do you use a 2-minute chart and not like a range chart or a Renko chart?
Okay, I have a 4-range chart for the. I also draw if a price movement starts in the 4-range start. I draw a profile and I look where in this movement the low volumes are, as level. And the 2-minute chart is only in the footprint for imbalances. And I have it combined with this large trades to identify where buyers and sellers step in. It's for me, I also try it in the order book, but I use in NinjaTrader this MZ pack. I don't know if somebody knows it, and it shows big trades and iceberg orders very good, very accurate, very quick. So I see immediately when buyers and sellers come in, and the 2 minutes mainly for the imbalance also in the footprint. I
Okay.
in the ES, in the NASDAQ, in the NQ, it's quite useless the imbalances of the 2 minutes because they are overrun, underrun all the time. It's not a level which holds, but in the AS, it's really good.
I think Gianmarco and Sergey, you guys should get to either. What we should do is do a trade review. Let's pick a trade, Gianmarco, and then I'll facilitate us going through it. And Sergey, you guys could get together, and I think we should record that. That would be helpful in getting you together and then sharing systems. And yeah, I think that would be great if you guys want to do that.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested.
Yeah, sure,
in
we can do it. We can do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have another job, so I mostly start trading. Yeah, like this interview today. It's 12 your time, and it's 6 p.m. my time. So after my main job. So this is normally from now to market close. It's the time when I'm trade.
Oh,
so
when you're in, you start in at noon Central or 1 p.m.
Yeah, because I exactly because I have another job, so I can do it after work only. But through the time shift to US market, it's around 12 o'clock that I start. So not in the morning, but midday.
Perfect. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap this up.
Just to know. Yeah.
That's helpful. I'm going to wrap this up, and we're going to get Jeremy going on the workshop. We're a little bit behind where I expected to be, but appreciate everybody's patience. And again, Gianmarco, thank you for the interview.